In many ways, the creator feels like a throwback to 2000s pre-Marvel science fiction movies. Set in the late 21st century, it pitches an America which has banned artificial intelligence following a nuclear detonation in Los Angeles. America is at war with an East Asian confederation which has embraced AI in the form of simulants who look like humans but have a big gap at the back of their head, and robots who just look like robots. The main character is Joshua, an American undercover military operative who, in a completely unprofessional way, has got the target of his operation pregnant, but that's very convenient for the plot. Joshua has lied to his partner Maya about the fact that he's still working for the American military. But one night, military forces come, break down their door, kill Maya, and take Joshua back to the United States. The film then jumps forward 5 years. We see Joshua working on the ruins of Los Angeles, and then he's sent on a mission to find a super weapon which could end the war with an imminent Asian victory. There's a lot I liked about this movie. I really liked the child, both the actor and the character. So the actor starts off very stoic and slowly adds more emotion. The character's very consistent as well, very positive. John David Washington is very similar to sort of how he was in Tenet, a bit confused all the time about what's going on, has good chemistry both with the kid and with Gemma Chan as Maya as well. The CGI looks really good. It looks like the filmmakers did a relatively small range of CGI, but then repeated it a lot. For example, there's the cylindrical gap in the simulant's heads. That shot is used quite heavily. And there's the creepy American nomad ship that hovers over the American continent. And the robots all seem to be of the same shape as well. But this actually makes the film look really consistent. It reminded me of Dune in that the budget of the film actually appears to be on the screen. There's lots of money on the screen, unlike recent Marvel or DC movies. The simulants were a particularly interesting concept. There's a marketing campaign inside the movie, for example, that says "Donate your likeness," which is used as a plot device, and also an interesting concept in and of itself, which I'd like to have seen explored a little bit more. And this is where the problems for the movie start to come in for me. So if you've got copies of other people or just other people's likeness walking around, what does that mean morally or philosophically? It's almost as though there's enough ideas in this movie for a TV series. For example, Humans, starring Gemma Chan. There's so much going on, so many questions, so many ideas being thrown into the mix that, to be honest, it's a bit lightweight, it's a bit flimsy. There's too much here. If I think of movies about AI that I like, there is, for example, The Matrix, Free Guy, The Terminator. There's the first season of Westworld, just the first season, don't bother with the rest. And those movies, Westworld as a TV show, they honed in on particular aspects. And for me, this movie, the creator poses questions but doesn't really explore the nuances of them. For example, one of the supporting characters is Drew, played by the musician Sturgill Simpson. Drew was another soldier. He's a friend of the main character, Joshua, then left the military and moved to Asia. An entire section of the movie is actually named The Friend, after Drew. So he's in the military and he defects to East Asia. Why does he defect? His new job is working in Southeast Asia, making new simulants, which he calls just copy and paste simulants. What's his motivation for defecting? What's his motivation for his job? Is it just for money? Is he just lusting after his robot girlfriend? It's not really explored, and it feels like a waste. That's a bit disappointing, to do not see what his reasons are. And this is typical of the American characters. They're just feeble stereotypes. And that brings me on to the main problem I have with this movie. At the beginning, we see a montage of 1950s style advertisements full of white people interacting with different robots and AI. And as the movie goes on, I might be misremembering this, but I was checking pretty carefully. Every American character, besides the main character, is Caucasian. And what we see of America is overwhelmingly military characters. So the US military, both in real life and in fiction, is full of poor people. And poor people quite often means minority groups. Think of American military movies that you've seen. Obviously not World War II movies, because the army wasn't integrated then. Think about all the Vietnam movies you've seen. Think of Platoon, for example. Think of the Gulf War stuff like Jarhead or Generation Kill. It's multiracial because that reflects the reality of the US military. Now, Hollywood and much of the corporate world has been obsessed with diversity and representation. So how, in this movie, are all the American characters, bar one, Caucasian? Is that an accident? I'm not quite sure I believe that. Did nobody notice? I don't buy it, sorry. So, on the one hand, with the Americans, we have this very mid-20th century German vibe. And then for the Asian characters, the robots, the simulants, they're dressed up as Buddhist monks. So we see extended sequences of these white American soldiers gunning down these Buddhist robots. It's just extremely heavy-handed, extremely simplistic. Honestly, it left a nasty taste in my mouth. Now, AI and consciousness is an ongoing conversation for people around the world. And are there perhaps some parallels that could be drawn between discussions about AI and discussions about race? Maybe there are, but I'm not intelligent enough to make those ideas, and neither are the people who have made these films. For example, at one point, one of the simulants says, "Simulants can't hurt humans." But throughout the film, we've seen the simulants fighting a war against the humans. I mean, perhaps it might explain some of the stormtrooper level shooting that we see during the movie. But it's just not thought through. It's not got the intellectual depth that many other movies and TV shows about AI and technology have got. This was directed by the guy who directed Star Wars Rogue One. And spoilers, this film has exactly the same ending as Star Wars Rogue One. So lots to like about this movie, but overall very beautiful, but not as clever as it thinks it is. Thanks for watching.